fling, baby. Nothing more than a fling, baby. Just a bit of ding-a-ling, baby, bling, baby. Don't want relationships, so swing, baby. It's just a fling, baby.
And here we are, we're still on the main straights here in Monaco. You can see the fans up on the balconies. They're the ones that had a great view of the race. They're the ones that love David. And actually, the other side of us, there's a load of British fans. I don't know if we can get a shot of the guys leaning over the back of the grandstand, but they've come over from Portadown, those guys. There's plenty of F1 fans knocking around. They've all had a great weekend. But the man who's had the best weekend of all is the man who started. We can actually show you where he started the race and where he finished the race. Well, this is pole position in Monaco, and it's just about 10 feet to where the checkered flag waves. It was a lot more than 10 feet for Sebastian Vettel. He had a cool head out there today once again.
Yeah, he was fantastic out front. It looked like he was under an immense amount of pressure from Fernando Alonso and Jenson Button just before that last safety car. He obviously got the rest and reprieve of getting a fresh set of tyres on for that last little dash for the checkered flag. But, yeah, it's a pretty healthy place to start. You can't actually see the apex from here, can you? It's such a twist into Saint-Devoz.
You can't see the apex right now because in front of us there's probably about 500 people, 6 or 7 vans. Yeah, there's a lot going on, as you can see. So if the start of the race was like that, Eddie, we wouldn't see a lot of racing, would we?
Well, thankfully, these people are so interested, they're all glued to their seats because, you know, the excitement really, let's be very clear, the adrenaline rush, we interviewed some of the engineers and the mechanics, they get the same. Yeah. It just flows. 5 minutes before the start and then the start, it's crucial. And then you want everyone to go through the first corner safely. Well, obviously for the whole race, but particularly the first corner because it's prone to having accidents because everybody's so cluttered up together. And I was very impressed with the drivers today. This is not an easy corner. It's sectioned off and they all got around safely. Quite remarkable, really. OK, we're now going to do one of my most favourite things from a weekend. If we just tell you, you can tweet me, Jake, at Jake Humphrey F1 on Twitter or f1@bbc.co.uk. Plenty of F1 fans, plenty of people that enjoyed the race. I think you should just go meet a couple of them, Eddie. Go on. Oh, Jake, thank you. You just keep landing me in all these things. Now, I actually found somebody, and this is a complete freak. In my mind as an Irish person, I have found something, because we were very fortunate to win a BAFTA last year, or the last week. This man, not alone has he won the Palma d'Or, but he's won the Cork d'Or too. Liam Cunningham, an absolutely outstanding friend, but a great, great Irish actor. Liam, come and talk to us a little bit. What are you doing here?
Well, I'm here for the race, and I'll tell you, the amazing thing was I was expecting a procession, which it sometimes is here, and it's been the most extraordinary day. I just can't believe it. It's amazing.
Why are you not in Cannes? I mean, surely Cannes is the place that you hang out in, so to speak.
I was there a little while ago, but as you can tell from my voice, I've been here for a few days.
Oh, yes, well, I understand that. Are you in competition in Cannes?
I was, yeah. Well, I was in Director's Fortnight. I had a couple of movies there, but this is the bit that excites me.
I can see that. Liam Cunningham, thank you very much. Where is that, Jake? He always puts me in a situation where I actually enjoy meeting the people that we don't normally... Oh, he's back. He saved me at last. He's my
Eddie,
saviour.
Go and have a quick word with Herbie. Go on. You have to run, Eddie.
Herbie Blash, I've got to comment there. Herbie, this man, ladies and gentlemen, he has saved my life way back in the 1900s. I'm talking about 1990. Herbie Blash, who was with Brabham, worked with Bernie. Was this a classic race?
Yes, it was, actually. I thought it was a great race.
We were all on the edge of our seats. Please tell me, why did you restart the race with those few laps to go?
It was a race. There's still a race on.
See this? Told you, Jake, absolute. Once the racing blood is inside those veins, it's impossible to shirk them off.
Now I've got to catch my plane. Cheers, buddy.
Oh, please. We're not allowed to do that. We've got to work.
I think if you work for the FIA, you can normally get a plane when you like to where you like. But as was mentioned there, racing is in people's veins, and I want us to go up here and find another man who has racing in his veins. A man who came to Monaco
Just
and
adoration
conquered
time.
Monaco on 2 separate occasions. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you double Grand Prix winner, standing in the spot where you stand when you win the race.
We are not
David
worthy,
Coulthard.
David. We are not worthy.
No, I've got your place here, Eddie. There's number 3
No,
there.
I've never been. Actually, 4th is the best I got here, actually, and I would have loved to have been here.
This is actually living a dream for a Formula One fan.
I would never have
Actually,
left.
Jake,
No, I
you're
can't.
rightfully
No, I
number
can't.
1.
I can't do that. That's
So
yours.
the Royal Box is not safe from bits of Pirelli tyre, actually. Marbles being thrown in here as well.
Can we raise your arm in victory, ladies and gentlemen? Twice winner of this unbelievable Grand Prix.
Am I sweating?
Mr. David Coulthard.
Just present.
Just talk us through, David, 2000 and 2002, standing there, how did that feel?
Well, it felt fantastic because you've just been out there for an hour and 40 minutes, skiffing barriers and bouncing over bumps and going over the crest of the hill into the chicane. So it's an overload on your senses. So when you finally get to the end, the slowing down lap, it's probably the slowest slowing down lap you do of any Grand Prix because you're just desperate to sort of catch your breath. These young, fit guys today didn't even look like they'd done a full Grand Prix. In fairness, it was a sort of split distance, but I was always drenched in sweat and enjoyed very much receiving the trophy.
Okay, Eddie, nice to be on the podium for a change.
Well, this is magical times for me. I can only relive this through the voiceover of David, and I trust that it is every driver's dream to be on this. And also team principle. You know, it's different. You come here in the Formula 3 days, and you want to be up here. You come here in Formula 3000, or what it is now, GP2. And Formula 1 is the top of the tree. It's absolutely remarkable. And actually, well done to Monaco for allowing us this access. You know, this is scary times.
No, indeed. Actually, no, it's worth just showing you this, actually. Monaco is a place that lives and breathes the rest of the year. You can't just chop everything down and set up a motor race. So even here, where the guys are sitting watching the racing, there is trees growing through the grandstand. There's some trees going through the middle of the pit buildings as well. So that's how Monaco has to deal with hosting a Grand Prix, but it does it very well. It did it very well in 2000 and 2002. Let's have a little look and just remind ourselves of how young David Coulthard once looked and how fast he drove a racing car.
That is a long time ago, isn't it? 2002. And well, there was no one behind me. Normally I used to have to weave my way to the checkered flag holding up the others.
You must have knocked Michael Schumacher off early or something.
That's probably the case.
David, I think he's a little bit rude to say such a thing. That's a magnificent drive. You just pulled away from everybody.
It looks like there was no one else there. A little kiss at the trophy.
And you didn't have a designer stubble at that stage?
No, it was in my McLaren contract. I had to shave.
How does it feel when you hook it up around here?
It is electric. It really is, because just when you've got to be one corner ahead, which is very different to other tracks, and you know, you brush the Armco through to back and then immediately glance up and try and get your focus for the entry to the chicane. You know, minimum speed there of 140 miles an hour. It is incredible, Jake, and I wish that we could actually all experience that again. Not the physical aspect of it, but just the rush of it.
First time. I wish I could experience it just the once. Okay, well, the final large vehicle has left the pit lane, so I think we can go in, and it's great to just give you an idea of the geography, just how close everything is here. So we've got the start-finish straight here. That's where Charlie Whiting, the race director, would have started the race from. Yes, once again, right next to a tree. The grandstands are right on top of us. You can see the guys there who've been enjoying the Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel, joint tied for the best 6 race starts in any given season. There's something about that guy at the moment, David. He's not just driving well, he's getting the luck as well, isn't he?
Well, Martin Brundle has often said you make your own luck, but I'm not sure if that's entirely the case. You know, if you've got failures happening or bad pit stops happening, then you know, how could someone possibly influence that? But he certainly is on a crest of a wave, and we've seen it with other drivers at various points in their career where they just don't seem to be able to do any wrong, and Michael was the best example of that. I think he went for like 3 or 4 seasons without having a mechanical failure at a time when Formula 1 was not that reliable.
Isn't it a sign of some great champions in any sport? Just think about the sports. You get into a drone and you get into a position where everything just seems to go for you. Now, that's not always going to be the case for Vettel, but there he is at the moment. It just is. He's doing this, and he probably doesn't realise mentally himself why it's so easy, because it looks easy outside. Of course, it's not. But he may never get this chance again, and he might as well capitalise on every moment that he gets.
If we can just go up here to the right of this low loader, actually, I believe that's Jaime Alguersuari's car coming back into the pits after the late accident. So if we turn around and have a little look, you can see the car just coming off the low loader around the side here. Now, as always in these situations, they're very, very careful about making sure that you don't see too much of the damage on a car, but you can just see there, obviously, the front wing has come completely off that car, damage to the front left as well, David.
Yeah, well, if they got here just a moment earlier, we probably could have seen some McLaren paint on the underside of that nose, but I'm not really sure why they want to hide that too much. I don't think many people will be copying that car. Certainly not the quickest one out on the track.
It's a bit cruel, David. It's probably last year's Red Bull, but we know that that's no longer
It would be a
legal,
lot quicker if it was.
Well, you'd have to ask their drivers that reason. The reason I think people do this is quite surprising, because apart from the fact of losing sponsorships and opportunities for photographs, I think just generally teams always seem to cover up. It's a rule of thumb. I don't know why it happened. Maybe you should know.
Well, as a team owner, was that something that you asked for, or your engineers would ask for?
I inherited it. It just seemed to be either whether a driver was hurt or wasn't hurt, or whether the car was damaged or whatever, we just always seem to cover the car.
You're a commercial man. I'm sure your covers would have had sponsors on them because they're missing an opportunity there.
Not alone that, and this is absolutely true, because at that stage, and Martin is a full witness to this because he's been upside down in a Jordan car on a few occasions, we had different logos underneath the car.
You are joking me.
Because absolutely.
That's positivity for you, isn't it? Going into a race with your sponsors on the underneath of the car.
Well, you have to cover off every opportunity, and at that stage, I think our cars used to fly a bit, and literally, not necessarily always on the track. But anyway, leaving that a moment there, we just see different contact. If I could just show you, look. There's certainly something that's actually tires somewhere along here. He's picked up something from... and this is
of course from Kamui Kobayashi's car, the only Sauber in the race today.
And what a great job they did for the team, bearing in mind the unfortunate accident that happened to Perez yesterday.
Yeah, you know a few guys in that team, Eddie. Do you want to just pop in and get their reaction to such a strong finish for Kamui?
We'll see if we have anyone here. We've got Peter Sauber's son. Come over here. What a great race today for you. A great result, bearing in mind the unfortunate accident, and we're all very pleased, and thank you for being on our program earlier, telling us about Sergio. Great result today.
Excellent result today, and now we hope that we're waiting for the decision of the FIA. We're under investigation. We don't know what actually exactly they want to penalize here, but we'll wait and see.
My guess is, fingers crossed, I think it might not be your car. I think it might have been the person who was in contact with your car. Let's keep our fingers crossed for you. I hope for you and for Sauber. You're a great team. Thank you.
Thanks.
Very nice, Eddie. Well done. And Eddie's just walking alongside a car that wouldn't have taken part in the race. This would have been the T car for Sergio Perez.
Well, if they look inside, there's a box of bits in here. This is what has to be taken away from the car to make sure it's transportable. The next race, of course, is in Canada, a flyaway. They've got no time to prepare. This car will be broken into pieces and it'll be brought to Canada. So it'll be in Canada by Tuesday, I'd say. Yeah, Tuesday next week. And it's a tall order. Particularly this team has to go back to Switzerland.
Well, we should just explain, this has actually been built last night because you're not allowed spare cars in Formula One. They actually have the chassis and all the bits in boxes, and when the FIA give approval, you open those boxes, and even though I think they pretty much knew that Sergio wouldn't be racing today, they still go through the process anyway of rebuilding the car just in case. So clearly that's one very low mileage Sauber.
It is. We'll get to your tweets in just a few moments. What we're going to try and do is go all the way from the grid to the paddock, which is no mean feat actually here in Monaco, because everywhere's very tight, everywhere is very busy, but we're going to do our best to do just that. Let's have a little chat actually about Jaime Alguersuari. We saw his car coming back there. He actually walked past us as we were waiting to make our way to the podium to see the champagne spray happening. How much is he a man under pressure at the moment, do you think, Eddie? Daniel Ricciardo today in the Formula Renault race, he got pole, he took the win, he's breathing down Jaime's neck.
I'd say he's under intense pressure because this young Australian boy who's coming up and won again today in the junior race, he looks every bit as potential as Vettel. He's kind of taking him all the way through the different formulas. Of course, there's no guarantee when you come to Formula One that you can do exactly what Vettel is doing, but the opportunity is there, and I think he's doing everything that's right.
Yeah, I think that as hard as it is to say, and I'm sure Jaime Alguersuari has got his stories as to why it doesn't seem to be working out quite as well as for Sebastian Buemi, but difficult to get to Formula One, it's even more difficult to stay there. And if the team feel that they're giving away some performance in the drivers, then what do they have to lose in giving Daniel Ricciardo a go? You know, the worst case scenario, it doesn't work out, they put him back out of the team into the reserve driver role and move Jaime Alguersuari back in. If you remember back to when I started at Red Bull, you know, my teammates, I was sharing with Tonio Liuzzi and a young Austrian whose name escapes me right now. I think I've taken too many points on the head.
It's disappointing for Toro Rosso. Remember that the first Toro Rosso win was by Vettel. So we have to move on. This is a team who did such a lot of good in the pre-season testing. I thought, and I made in one of the comments that we had on the show right at the very beginning of the year, I thought they could be a major surprise. Well, so far they've been very disappointing. And I think the drivers have some of those questions to answer as to why this is happening, because it is fundamentally a good team and a good car.
Yeah, it's been tough for them so far, absolutely. What a treat that was, just to walk down the pit lane after the Monaco Grand Prix. Normally it's so tight here. For the last few years we've been on boats. I know that ITV before us weren't here in the pit lane. But how great to get a real sense of the fans who are still there in the in the grandstand, still enjoying the action. Now, we would carry on walking, but sadly, if you just turn around, Ian, you can see the reason why we've stopped where we are. They may look very smiley, but you try and go through, and they'll stop you. There you go. OK, we have to stop here, do we? That's
I think we can go this way.
Parc Fermé is just over here, and we're not allowed to go in there, but we can jump over the rails. Here's Ted Kravitz. Ted, you've had a busy one down here in the pit lane. How are you finding the new regulations this year?
Hello, Jake. I'm just telling you, you have to go over the other side.
I know,
This
we
is
were just
Parc
having a go,
Fermé.
though.
You know, you look at Eddie trying to get...
Jake, my legs are a little bit short for this. You'll be all right. You can just step over this.
I'll see what I
Ted,
can
were
do.
you talking about anything in particular?
No,
there,
no,
Mike?
Eddie, I was just admiring your trousers. What do you want to know? I'm just hoovering some stuff up. I'm actually just waiting for the steward's investigation for Lewis.
Yeah, what are we expecting to happen there?
Well, I think they're looking at another retrospective drive-through. Christian Clean, David.
Thank you very much. I did, yeah, a voice in my head told me that. That's quite a nice shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got Adrian Newey and Christian Horner. I don't know if we can just zoom the camera up above the Red Bull garage, standing on the balcony. They're not up there to do royal waves, they're just reflecting on the afternoon. And I wonder, that looks quite a serious conversation, doesn't it?
I've got some reasons as to why there was that pit stop mix-up as well. Apparently, Vettel came in, the tyres were ready for him. One of the blankets got caught. Did you see? They were. It wasn't exactly the blanket wasn't sticking to the tyre, but it just got caught, and that delayed them. And apparently there was a missed call between the pit wall, which is of course up there, not on the pit wall, and the mechanics as to which tyres they wanted for Mark Webber. And so that's why there was that delay. The mechanics were, you haven't told us what tyres to bring out, and that's why there was that delay. At that point, it was looking like a very long afternoon for Red Bull, but of course they managed to pull it round. Anything else you want to know, Michael Schumacher?
No, I think that's good. I think we'll let you carry on hoovering up, which
Michael
you are
Schumacher
supremely good at.
suspected engine airbox fire.
Okay.
That was why he conked out.
Very good. Ted, thanks very much.
It's all
And talking of pit stops, actually, I spoke to Taffy, who is Lewis Hamilton's main man in the garage here, and he said the problem was Lewis got such a late shout to come into the pits. Lewis just about made it in, but it was too late for the guys to get out here and be fully ready for him, and that's an example of a frustrating weekend for Lewis Hamilton. Against Pastor Maldonado after the restart, he struggled. We can have a look at that moment now, and it was just a weekend of problems and mistakes for Lewis Hamilton. Remember, he took a penalty in qualifying. He was then crashing and bashing into everybody during the race. He took a penalty, and now he may well have another one after this moment with Pastor Maldonado during the restart. There's the onboard from Lewis Hamilton's point of view. Now, we've spoken to Lewis Hamilton. He wasn't happy with that moment, was he? Here's what he has to say. Listen carefully.
Lewis, a pretty eventful day, and I imagine a disappointing day for you. Have you just been at the stewards? What's the latest?
You know what? I've been to the stewards out of 6 races. I've been to the stewards 5 times. It's a joke. It's an absolute freaking joke.
You're obviously very aggrieved. Describe in your eyes what happened with Massa and at the end there with Maldonado.
You know, you can't overtake here, and you very, very rarely do you ever get an opportunity. And I was quite a lot quicker than Massa. I went up the inside, and the guy turned so early and just turned into me. So I tried to go over the curb to avoid him, and we're stuck together. So, I mean, it was just... and, of course, I get the penalty, which is usual. He held me up in qualifying, and I got the penalty. He turned into me, and I got the penalty. And then I went up the inside of Maldonado, and you can see on the screen he turned in a good car length too early to stop me from overtaking him, and crashed into me. And I mean, it's just ridiculous, man. I mean, his drivers are absolutely freaking ridiculous. He's stupid.
Why do you think you're so magnetic to the stewards? Why do you think that you obviously feel that you're being targeted?
Maybe it's because I'm black. That's what LEG says. I don't know.
Just explain how much this is hurting your championship. Is it hurting your confidence as a driver?
No, it's not affecting my confidence as a driver. I just think the sport is, you know, people want to see motor racing, want to see overtaking, and you get done for trying to overtake. You get done trying to put on the show. You're done trying to make a move. And fair play if I really feel that I've just gone too late and hit someone, put my hand up and realize, okay, I really have caused an incident and I've been the stupid one, but it's not the case. But yeah.
What are the next steps? Do you speak to Bernie? Do you speak to the FIA? Or do you carry on as you want to?
I just try and keep my mouth shut and enjoy the rest of the season, which I'm sure is going to be an interesting one. But as you can see, he's walking away with it.
Do you think it's too late for your championship now?
I don't know. It's never too late. It's never too late. But it's not looking great, I must say. But I gave it my all today, and the team did a great job. to get the car back out and get it fixed for the last few laps. And I really have to apologise to the fans for what I think is a bit of a shambles of an experience that they saw probably with me. But I'll try my best to bounce back in the next race.
Sorry, I'm going to have to another negative. What happened in the pit stop when you came in and the team didn't seem ready at one point?
They said box to overtake. I came in and they weren't there. Simple as that.
Oh no, a day to forget.
The whole weekend, I would say. But we have these weekends, and I think it's character testing. It's, or at least that's what people say, whether it's right or wrong. You just got to suck it in. I want to go and chill, try and enjoy the rest of the weather, go and do some jet skiing, and try not to get myself in any more trouble.
Wow, clearly a really difficult weekend for Lewis Hamilton. We'll have a look at a few of his incidents in just a moment. Just to clear up, I'm sure that is Lewis speaking in the heat of the moment and only joking about mentioning that he was black for the reason he keeps going towards the stewards. That was a joke. The rest of it wasn't. The rest of it was completely serious, and Lewis Hamilton is a very unhappy guy, and you get the sense there, not just with the sports and with the FIA and with the stewards, but also with his team as well.
A lot of frustration coming over, and this comes back to what we were saying in the pre-show, and we mentioned earlier when we were down on the grid there that you know, the McLaren drivers seem to be free to really speak their mind, and you know, I'm sure on reflection there's some things there that that Lewis would probably prefer not to have said, but he's frustrated. He's frustrated with the fact that, you know, it's been a couple of seasons since he was able to be a world champion. He's frustrated that he's only had one victory this year. He only wants to win. And on top of all the frustrations of the difference in pace that seems to be between the Red Bull and the McLaren, he's getting involved in these incidents and accidents. And, you know, as difficult as it is to be called to the stewards and to sit there and have someone take a decision which you feel is different to your view on things, it's the same stewards that then make a decision for the other drivers as well. And what we always call for is that there's consistency from the stewards and they don't sort of favour one person over another. There's no question Lewis Hamilton is a truly world-class racing driver. There's no question that he doesn't deliberately run into people or make mistakes like that, but sometimes you're just not getting the luck, and it comes back to what you were saying about Sebastian Vettel seemingly having all the luck going with him right now.
Is it luck though? Eddie, is he being treated unfairly by the sport?
Look, leave that aside for one moment. You make your own luck, as you rightly say, but it still does not give him the right to speak the way he spoke about his colour, his what he feels, and what he said was he's been victimised. Isn't that what he said? He's been up there 5 times. Look, let's be serious. Let's take it as if it was a joke. It just doesn't ring well. I mean, if you were his PR manager and if you were in PR in the team, you say, my goodness, Lewis, be quiet until you've time to think. Always sleep on something like that and give yourself the opportunity of saying, Eddie, what it is like.
We spend our lives wishing that drivers would be honest with us and tell us the truth and speak their minds and be passionate about being racing drivers, and as soon as one does, we can't then say he has no right to speak like that. Well, if he feels aggrieved and he feels he's not being treated fairly, he has every right to share his thoughts.
But, you know, he's aggrieved for a couple of reasons. His grid position did not give the true rightful speed of what he was able to do, and if he wants to be critical of the team, which he can be, and I applaud that, rightly so, it goes down to the fact that the team made a difficult strategy yesterday in the qualifying. And so what you saw out there, and we've already discussed it, his aggravation and his arrogance on the track was born out of frustration from yesterday, not today.
Yeah, but how great that he cares so much.
Yes, I agree. Yes, I mean, listen, I'm one of his biggest fans. I think he's an outstanding driver. Right. But there are areas within, if that's really the way he's thinking, I think he didn't give himself enough of a chance. I don't think he was calm enough in his head starting the race, because he was clearly upset. He was clearly upset, and as a result, you saw what we saw today, which was great. I mean, it's absolutely fodder to the media. They will love some of those comments. They will be climbing all over their computers, etc., trying to get something on copy for tomorrow, Eddie, because it's classic.
That's a U-turn quicker than a driver that's gone wrong at Saint-Devote, I think. By the way, if you're wondering where we've ended up, you can see those huge gates behind us. This is like some sort of citadel here. Formula One love to keep ownership of this kind of place. And there are some fans, because these are bars all the way along here the rest of the year, and they're enjoying the racing at the moment. And it's nice to see so many people who are so passionate about racing, just like Lewis Hamilton, enjoying it down here. Well, let's go on board, actually. Let's enjoy a bit of that race, and let's have a look at some of Lewis's moments. First of all, Lewis Hamilton versus Felipe Massa. Ready?
Look, we've heard Lewis. He thinks that Massa turned in on him. You know, that's a difficult one to call. We saw Resta got a penalty. Lewis would have known the thinking at this stage of what the stewards. How does Massa know that he's there? That's what I don't understand. Yes, Massa, he was in front. It's his call. So, I mean, if I was a steward, what would I do? You have to have consistency and you have to have transparency. Look, he's absolutely not even alongside him. It's just, I think Lewis got the penalty there rightly.
Yeah, I think what Lewis is taking the position. I can see you, so you should be able to see me. And of course, he's forgetting at that point, he's not even alongside him. So, you know, Felipe wouldn't have had the benefit of seeing his front wheel until the point it made contact with his bodywork. As hard as it is to call, and I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there that just don't want to see that Lewis made a mistake, in that case, you know, he's quite right for having a go. But it was too late and it didn't work out.
I'm sure you remember shouting at drivers over the team radio just to calm down and stop making mistakes. And when a driver is frustrated, and remember Lewis went into this race with frustration after taking a penalty after qualifying yesterday, what he needed was his team to be bang on. And as we've already mentioned, the team made a late call. Lewis got the call, the team got the call, and in his words, he came in and they weren't there.
Well, you know, somebody else in the programme talked about the spotter. If we can look at where they are at the moment, only a matter of 20 yards from there is the other side of the track. So if he wasn't ready at that stage, surely, you know, the team weren't ready to have the tyres out there.
Well, there's a minimum time that they'll know. They rehearse this all the time. There's actually some nifty work there with the right rear guy, was it, or the front right guy? He had to jump over the top of the... I'd like a replay of that, actually. He looks like he's been called Twinkle Toes.
How frustrating is that?
But they know how long it takes. So just watch your back there, Jake. We've got a car coming right up behind you. They'll know how long it takes to get the guys from the garage into the pit lane, and more crucially, how long it takes to get the tyres unplugged, out of the blankets, and to the guys.
Okay, here it is again, David. You can have a look at Twinkle Toes, as you've called him.
Yeah, well, let's just watch the guy at the front. So Lewis comes in, and he'll be like, oh, my God, the guys are not lined up. And then look at this man here jumping up over the front jack. Okay, he wasn't quite so Twinkle Toes, but in fairness, he does have about, 15 kilograms of front wheel.
He was more Colin Jackson than Twinkle Toes.
Yeah.
Guys, sorry, you know, David, racing driver, you understand you've had late calls. If I did that, I'd be super critical on myself as a team boss. That is a failure of communication, absolute communication. The people making that call they didn't know whether the guys had the tyres in their hands or whatever. It was too late a call. Rubens clearly can see that, and that obviously is further of the, you know, the frustration, the annoyance of not having the tyres there.
If you take a look to our right, Ian, you can see this is what we call the pen. This is where all of the drivers come and go. And there is the lovely Lee McKenzie. Busy one for you today out in the hot sunshine. Very interesting interview with Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, quite often in these situations he's come in the past and he's said, I've got nothing to say.
Mark,
and he just
DC.
keeps saying he's got nothing to say. Today he had plenty to say, and I'm slightly worried that when he wakes up tomorrow morning he may regret some of it. But we ask for drivers to be honest, and he was extremely honest. That's what our viewers want, and that's what, as a journalist, I want.
Great work, well done. But there's plenty more work to be done, so carry on standing there. See you later. Now, what we're going to do is catch up with David and Eddie. David's very handily waving his microphone in the air to show me where he is. Now, we're at the paddock gates. Now, this is going to be very interesting television because we're standing at the exit here. And if you just take a look at how many people there are the other side of this exit, this is going to be a test. So here we go. Ian. No, Eddie, you lead the way, actually. Get those elbows out, and let's see if we can make our way onto the Red Bull floater home on live television. Here we go.
Well, we're doing our best. Actually, we're doing better than I thought we would do, but are you okay there, Jake?
I'm fine. I'm tall enough not to need to worry too much.
Oh, thanks. I don't think there's a question of worry. It's a question of getting there. We're actually doing really well. The guys in the cameras are doing remarkably well. How's he doing that in the reverse mode?
Oh, look at this. Mini Jenson Button or mini Lewis Hamilton. That's very sweet. Little cutie. Okay, well, let's make our way onto the barge. David, how do the drivers react to a weekend like this? Because they can be very cosseted if they want away from the public, and I always think the public don't get enough of what they deserve with Formula One. They don't get the access that they should have. How great is it that the guys couldn't stand there? And the reason why they were there is they know they will speak to Sebastian Vettel or a Mark Webber.
Well, that's one thing that's great about Monaco, the fact that the drivers do have to leave the security of the Formula One paddock from time to time to go to, you know, the Florida homes, as you call them, or to access the elevators that take them over to the actual pit complex. And that gives them the opportunity to get up close and personal. And what you see when people have given that access, they're very respectful of it. So it's not something you see the drivers sprinting down the paddock to get away from them. When they have the time, they'll engage with the people that are there. So I think it adds to the whole atmosphere of Monte Carlo.
And this is the way to watch Grand Prix, isn't it? You look at the guys standing. Are you going to help yourself to a bottle of water?
Why not?
I don't blame
gasping
you.
here.
All the guys here, and you can see upstairs actually how many people are awaiting a Red Bull party. I mean, this is a team that know how to party, so we're going to make our way up the stairs and into the mayhem, which will be very interesting indeed. And I'm pleased to say that Martin Brundle's joined us. Sorry about that, Martin. That was a bit hard to get through there. How was that race from your perspective? Good fun?
It was a great race. An anticlimax, wasn't it?
I'm not going to get involved here. I'll.
And
nice to see you, Tanya.
You survived that one then, Marty? I've had a day and a half, haven't I? I've had a sort of Hamilton-esque race with bits and pieces breaking. But yeah, I thought that, obviously you see the fans are really not happy that you could put new tyres on and effectively negate the race.
Okay, just take a look around and see what's going on here, because these are the fans with their cameras. And then the other side of the swimming pool, we've got all of the Red Bull team that run the floater home. See if they'll give us a wave, because they've been working very hard all weekend. Give us a wave, guys. And then finally, on the other side of the pool, we have all the professional photographers, most of whom were taking photos of Mark Webber and I in the pool a couple of days ago. So I'm not going in that pool at the moment. I suggest we all stay as far away from that as possible. This is a truly special experience. It wasn't like this when you were racing around here in the 90s, was it, Martin?
I was smiling this morning because we saw Lewis and Jensen over in that magnificent McLaren motorhome, and just everything going on, lots of facilities, lots of support. I was saying, actually, if in Perez's accident yesterday, back in the day, you'd have been back in the racing car because there was no medical facilities to check that kind of thing out. And my wife and Nora Tyrrell used to make the sandwiches in the back of the Tyrrell truck, but it has moved on a long way in those 30 years.
I've got a sneaky suspicion that a few £1,000s worth of equipment could get damaged on the F1 forum this year, but I won't be responsible for that. Of course, as well as this party going on, we are here to keep you abreast of all the latest news. As soon as there is any news from the hospital, obviously we know that Perez is okay. He spent a night in hospital last night, but Vitaly Petrov has been taken to the local hospital, the Princess Grace Hospital here, so again, we'll keep you up to date with that. And the stewards are still busy looking into various incidents. We were just talking about Lewis Hamilton. Were you benefiting from hearing the Lewis interview, or did you not hear what he had to say?
Yeah. The problem is with Lewis, it's always somebody else's fault, isn't it? And you do wonder if he needs a bit of a mindset change on that. But, to make the overtakes as he does, you've got to be pretty adventurous. But we'll see what the stewards think at the final one and whether they agree that Maldonado turned in on him. But I don't think that's how we called it in commentary. But Lewis had to take some risks today to get. He's been so unlucky all weekend. I think there was some frustration in his driving as well, but it can't always be the other guy's fault.
No. You can vote for your driver of the day as well on the BBC Sport website at the moment. Probably worth giving the guys an early heads up on how you are all feeling about driver of the day at the moment. Where would you place your money, David? Because actually there were some great drives up and down the grid today.
Well, I think it's more a question of who didn't do anything wrong. And I didn't see any mistakes or any faults from either Sebastian, Fernando or Jensen. So how can you individually separate which one of those guys drove the best today? It's easy to just go with the winner, but clearly Lewis won't be in that pack because he's been involved in incidents and accidents. I'd be interested to see what the fans at home think. Those three guys, for me, were faultless.
I think Maldonado's got until he got knocked off the track, but can he give driver of the day to a man that didn't finish the race? But Jensen, as you say, Jensen drove a tremendous race. And nobody really made any mistakes. It came down to luck and strategy, didn't it? Did you see anybody else in the field, Ed?
I just thought that somebody who probably stands out, and because I like to see the guys either from midfield or the back make it up, I think worth noting was Kobayashi. I think he's aggressive here. I thought he'd get swamped up, certainly on the restart. He didn't. He held his position. He got passed, of course, by Lewis. But I'd have to go with Button myself. I think he just to edge it. He was so unlucky, in my opinion. Everything went from when he had done his stops. He was in the perfect. I could actually see the last couple of laps. I could see Alonso taking on Vettel in a skirmish and Jensen sliding up to win the race. That was the way I thought it would unfold. It didn't happen that way, but that's how I thought. I think I'd give my vote to Jensen.
And a mention of Adrian Sutil as well, a strong points finish, and he's had a difficult couple of weeks away from the circuit as well as on the track, being beaten quite regularly by Paul di Resta. Now let's just make our way down to the far end of the pool, and while we do that, we're going to confirm the result of the driver of the day on our website. So third place was Fernando Alonso. Congratulations to Fernando. He had another strong drive today. Sebastian Vettel is sitting in second place at the moment. So Fernando Alonso 10.5%, 15% for Sebastian Vettel, who won the race. So driver of the day. 38.6%. And I think in some ways, Eddie, that's maybe a vote for the fact that Jensen also had an incredibly unlucky day and deserved more than fate decided to deal him. And as we know, this place is full of casinos. Jensen went for red and he got black, didn't he?
Well, that's the thing, you know, we made the point just before the race started. This guy has emerged since the time that he became world champion. I think he's become a brilliant ambassador for our sport. Everything he seems to do, he does it with style and real panache. And I think there's some of that little element of that vote is in there as well. I thought he did an outstanding job today, kept himself clean to himself. He had some frustrations in the pit stops. And indeed, the safety car incidents didn't fall in his favour. So I think it's deserved that he won that.
OK, well, there's been a precautionary full-body scan for Vitaly Petrov. That's the latest news that we're getting. He complained of a painful ankle. The good news is no broken bones there, David. It's very different these days, Formula One. They're very, very careful. It's better to err on the side of caution. And there's been a few comments to say that actually a few years ago, even the big Sergio Perez crash, which would have been a big G shunt for him, he may well have got out the car and carried on racing, as Martin did on a number of occasions.
Well, I've got to be careful here because, you know, it goes in a very, you know, you've got to respect the fact that drivers know what they feel. But, you know, Perez's accident was a sizable accident, that's for sure. You know, Petrov's accident didn't look like it was a really big accident. And I'm a little bit confused by, you know, why we're seeing them. You know, here we are joining the chicane moment here, and we'll see the rundown. We see Lewis Hamilton gets on the inside. Petres Sutral has had his accident, and then we see Alguersuari get up the back of Lewis Hamilton as he backs out of it, and then Petrov goes into the barrier. That just doesn't look like a sizable accident, and I'm a bit confused why the drivers are getting injured. Certainly, if you get out of the car and give it, I'm all right, and walk away, even if you lie down when you're out of sight, the chances are you'll be allowed back in the race or back in qualifying. So I'd like to try and find out a little bit more of why the drivers are actually being kept in the car.
Just, David, I went to the Grand Prix drivers' charity football game on Tuesday night here in the big stadium, and he played amazingly, so there's not too much wrong with his back from previous races. And this looks just a nothing, a glance off the barrier. I agree with you. I don't see how he could have this kind of problem unless there was something else there.
I think it's a mentality issue. I mean, Nelson Piquet would have got out and started punching somebody, as he did with Eliseo Salazar at Hockenheim. And
so there's probably nobody close enough to punch. That's the problem.
As you say, David, it looks a fairly minor incident, doesn't it?
Yeah, he was actually complaining of pain in his ankle, not his back, but maybe some suspension came into the chassis. But again, you know, these chassis are clad inside with Kevlar, which is what they use in bulletproof vests to sort of reduce the likelihood of anything penetrating inside.
Okay. Well, the cars are very strong now, so you do tend to bounce around a bit inside, don't you? Whereas, again, the cars used to fold up and come at you a bit.
Yeah, but again, you have the same type of memory foam that they have around the driver's head and neck support. They have around the legs. You know, there's like a carpet of this all the way around inside the chassis to take away that opportunity for the driver's legs to bang against the side of the chassis. A lot of them actually wear knee pads as well, which sort of force their legs into place. So again, in an incident, you're not having your legs flapping around.
Sure. Lots of messages coming in on Twitter. I'd like to run through with you and just get some very quick answers. Lots of people asking, we want to hear from Kamui Kobayashi. What a driver. He's got a lot of fans on Twitter. We'll do our best to try and get hold of Kamui and have a word with him, and you'll be able to hear what he has to say. As for the driver's press conference, which a lot of you are asking about as well, I'm very sure that will be uploaded onto the BBC Sport website super quickly. Let's run through a few of these then. There's one here saying, Jenson Button, driver of the day, he was outmanoeuvred by the other two. It wasn't his team's fault, it wasn't bad luck. He just got the wrong calls throughout the race.
It was quite a complex race in the end, wasn't it? 2 safety car periods, 1 red flag. Jenson, of course, went on a different strategy of tyres, and I did think he was unlucky. I hadn't voted for him as driver of the day necessarily, because I think it's a race he should have and could have won in some respects, and he'll be talking to the team closely about that. You did, Ed, but I mean, what actually did Jenson do wrong, having said all of that? He didn't touch the barriers, we didn't see him lock a wheel, he had great pace at the right parts of the Grand Prix, it just wouldn't fall for him. But
Yeah, okay. Lots of other people asking whether teams should be allowed to change parts on the grid very quickly, Eddie. Is that the right thing to do under a red flag to allow you to sort the car out? Lewis Hamilton is a prime example. They changed both end plates of the rear wing.
It really isn't for me or anyone here to say. It is the rules of the sport. And they are being voted in by everybody. That's what happens, and we have to go with the rules.
Okay, well, Adrian Sutil and Kamui Kobayashi, two drivers who actually had a great day today. You're right there, Martin.
Sorry, somebody just biting me.
Okay. I hope it's an animal and not a human being. So there's the incident then between Kamui Kobayashi and Adrian Sutil, and as we said, both of them picking up points today. Both have had a very good race today, despite Adrian Sutil having a difficult past couple of weeks. And as Kamui makes one more lunge down the right-hand side of Adrian Sutil, we can hear from him. He's been speaking to me.
Well, Kamui, an eventful race. You were battling with Sutil for a long time, but Webber just got you at the end.
Yeah, a little shame, but I mean, it's enough fifth for us. I mean, we really were struggling in qualify, but team had a great strategy, and in the end we returned to the point, and even fifth, which is great for me. Team had a really great job.
Eddie, you thirsty?
I'm gasping.
You need to have a drink, don't worry. It is very hot out here. You carry on drinking. He was desperately trying to drink that whole bottle of water during a very short interview. Kamui Kobayashi, you think maybe a penalty awaiting him?
Well, just looking at that again, I mean, he was quite a long way back. He started the overtake manoeuvre when he was already into the corner, and of course that now appears to me as if that's where Sutil's right rear tyre first got damaged. We saw him going into the barrier at back, but that was probably effect rather than cause. Now we see that again. He might just take some pain over that, yeah, because it was a bit of a late move.
Marty, do you, and David as well, do you see a bit of a change of emphasis from the stewards? There was times that was considered to be, you know, racing, let's have it. Now they seem to get a penalty.
Yeah, I think in these days of health and safety and and so many camera angles and so much control, they are analysed. And of course they set precedents with the stewards. There's not the same stewards every weekend, which is difficult. They set a precedent, drivers get penalised. Remember, Lewis Hamilton's already on one reprimand, isn't he, from last weekend? And so they have to keep bringing these things into the stewards' office and making a decision. And quite often it is to stop the drivers from going wheel to wheel.
Okay. In a way, it takes away from the excitement for us.
Of course it does,
and it distorts the result when we'd like to have clarity at the end of a race. Waiting for stewards' decisions is disconcerting.
Okay, now Paul di Resta had a difficult race as well. As Martin said, he was maybe a little bit overconfident for his first time here at this Grand Prix. A couple of big moments, including that one with Jaime Alguersuari. Remember, Jaime was involved at the end of the race there, and of course he's got the stewards' inquiry awaiting him as well. As soon as there's any news, we'll bring you all of those. He's a young guy, Eddie. He's driven brilliantly so far. We can forgive him one slightly dodgy lunge or two in a Grand Prix. Paul di Resta?
I think Paul di Resta has got such a lot about him. We've seen how he's basically out-qualified his teammate generally over the season so far. Comprehensively, he is a top young guy. What I love is the three young rookies at the front.
Great, well, all of them gave us some excitement today, didn't they? Let's now hear from Paul di Resta.
Paul, a pretty feisty race from yourself. Some moves got you through the field and some got you into trouble.
Yeah, I have to hold my hands up to that one. That was me just being a bit too ambitious, probably. The car was working well. We had to change the strategy to what we'd gone for, and they said you had to pass him. Maybe I did try a bit too early, but what did confuse me was I was racing Lewis at the same point, and he got blue flags to get by Alguersuari, and I didn't, which was a bit unfortunate. But I should have maybe bided my time. The car was working quite well, and I think when we were running in 3 year, we were quite quick, so could have been a lot of points, but unfortunately not.
But what's it like on your first race to be driving these streets in anger, especially when there's so much going on? I mean, we saw it in that last crash just towards the end.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to coming back next year. It's amazing how much the track improved, went on, but at the same point, I would have liked to have been a bit closer up, and I just made a bit of a mess of it really today. I hold my hands up, and I feel a bit sorry for the team, because these points would have boosted our confidence immensely, but we can live to fight. We all make mistakes, and we'll push for the next race.
Thanks very much.
Eddie Jordan's disappeared because he's decided that working for the BBC isn't enough. Sky Deutschland also deserve a bit of the Eddie Jordan charm.
Looking after my next year's employer. Sorry.
And was that in English or was that in German?
You don't have to worry about that, Jake. You're a BBC through and through. All the veins, BBC right through.
OK, well, talking of German and German drivers, Michael Schumacher, another brilliant start. He's really got starting down to a fine art this year, hasn't he, Martin?
Yeah, it's just his...
No, sorry, this was a bad start. I knew there was something to talk about. He's had it good until now. This was a bog down.
He's gained places on every first lap. Yeah. And, of course, he just hit the anti-stall. But later on in the, well, halfway around the lap, indeed, less than a mile down the road, he's going to make a move on Lewis Hamilton down into the hairpin that pretty much set the scene. I think David and I were both massively impressed that he's still got his brain fully engaged. He's had an awful start. He's in a long queue. And this is very opportune. Just squeeze the throttle. Look at that, so easy. And Lewis recognised he was coming, but it is very easy to just fall into line and assume that nobody's going to try and make a move there.
Well, actually, just watching that makes me think about Lewis's interview, and maybe his point of view is, look, I get out the way when someone can down my inside. Why are the rest not getting out the way?
I loved your commentary over that, by the way, the two of you. To see an overtake in a place you've never seen an overtake at Monaco before. The scream from the both of you was fantastic. Michael Schumacher, though, it wasn't a great finish to the race, was it? As we heard from Ted Gravitz, he had a fire, he pulled over, he retired from this race. A fire in the airbox. Let's hear from him.
Well, Michael, sadly you were cycling us two at the end and not driving whilst the other cars were. Just tell us what the problem was out there.
Well, we had several issues. I mean, we had firstly at the start, we went, instead of going forward, we went into anti-stall program. That meant the car goes to neutral instead of driving. And we have to analyze why this happened, but nevertheless, the race was compromised by that moment. Then I had a touch with Hamilton. The nose was broken, lost quite a significant amount of downforce. Tyres, for that reason, went off much quicker. Early pit stops, or one-to-one had happened. But once we changed the nose and we had a fresh set of tyre, the pace at that moment was reasonable. I understood from my engineer we were kind of fourth quickest car in this moment. But then obviously the race was highly compromised. I tried to get by Nico because he was reasonably slow, being on hard tyres in this moment, struggling with the car, which I managed. And then we got a fire in the airbox that melted probably some cables, and then that meant stopping the race.
But whilst you were going, you looked like you were enjoying it. Some nice moves at the hairpin.
Yeah, I had some. I've been overtaken because my tyre's been down, but then obviously later on I recovered from that, and had some nice moves with Nico, with Barrichello, but then unfortunately too short.
And the benefit of Michael Schumacher wearing sunglasses in the interview is you get to see Lee Mackenzie asking the questions as well. You've got something you'd like to add about Michael's retirement?
So often, David, isn't it, when in a safety car situation where the drivers lift off the throttle and begin to slow down, where the engine's not really fully under pressure, you get these kind of problems creeping in, don't you?
Yeah, airbox fires, exactly. It's something that actually Renault have had a few issues with over the years, and it just flares up and it cuts all the available oxygen that's there to be used to burn in the chambers, and then of course the engine just stalls.
It's also my idea, I believe, that Renault, and in particular the Red Bull team, are using that little ploy, because whatever they're doing in the qualifying, they have such an advantage. I think they're either retarding the engine or doing something that flows more gas so as to give them more downforce. They don't seem to use it to the same effect in the race, but I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of it fairly soon.
Yeah. Now, we tend to get a lot of safety cars in Formula One. The sad thing about the safety car in this race was that it denied us watching three world champions going toe-to-toe for the last few laps. It was just shaping up perfectly when that accident happened, wasn't it?
Although actually it was Alonso attacking Vettel, wasn't it? Jensen didn't really get his nose in there. I guess he was waiting for the famous moment that never happened, when the tyres were supposed to fall apart on the two drivers ahead of him. But he wasn't really quite hustling them as hard as I thought he would, having caught them at the second half a lap.
But we've seen Jensen so many times being super cool and right in the right position. My guess, and I could be wrong, my guess is that he was going to let it play out at the front. No point going too early. He had the better tyre selection, and I think he thought that the tyres, the degradation, it would go off with Vettel and then Alonso, and he'd cruise up to win the race. Now, maybe I've got all that wrong, but that's what I felt. The wide push with 6 laps or 8 laps to go. I think he was just biding his time.
Yeah, well, it's a fair point. You know, Jensen didn't know when the safety cars were going to come. Sadly, he pitted, then there there was a safety car. Sadly, he was pushing and then there was a safety car. But how great in this Monaco Grand Prix to see incidents, to see overtakes and to see these guys going toe-to-toe like this. There was something different about this year's race, David.
I think it was the second,
or Martin, indeed.
Yeah, I think it was the second closest top 3 in the history of Monaco. I think I read just before we came down from the comment book. Your turn, son.
Yeah,
Answer that.
I can't
Nothing left to
disagree
say.
with that because I didn't read that before I left the commentary box. But no, it was shaping up to be a great finish to this Grand Prix. And I think what it does is sum up what a great season we've had in Formula One so far. You know, we mentioned in commentary, Red Bull seems to have the qualifying advantage, but it's not the case in the race.
But where did you ever see a couple of laps to go to the end, 8 or whatever it was, 3 world champions, and they had 7 cars to get through because they were catching on the bunch, which were all in the top 10. It was just magical. Just shame one of them had to go into the barrier and stop it.
OK, well, let's have a look at Jenson Button. Let's ride with him on board for a few moments during this race. You've all voted him as your driver of the day. He had over a third of the votes on the BBC Sport website, and we can hear from him now.
Congratulations on third. You started second, you led the race, you finished third, and yet you didn't actually do anything wrong.
First of all, you know, most importantly, Vitaly's well, which is great. You know, another big shunt this weekend. Yep, it was a fun race, and you know, we jumped Sebastian on the first stop, and I was on the super soft, and they said push, push, push. So it was like a quali lap every lap, and it was really fun to push the car hard. Tapped the wall a couple of times, but the car was okay, and we put out a really big lead, sort of 15, 16 seconds, and it was all looking great at that point, and the radio traffic was all positive. And then we put another set of tyres on, and then it was safety car. So we were in a very tricky situation. Sebastian decided to stay out, but the problem was we hadn't put both sets of tyres on yet, you know, the different sets of tyres. So we had to make another stop, which put us behind Fernando. And with 10 laps to go, to be fair, it was looking like it could have been any of ours, because Sebastian's tyres were going. Fernando was pushing him really hard, and I was watching it. It was fun to watch. He was going to have a go into turn 1, and they were either going to crash or he was going to get through, and I was going to have a go in the next lap. So, you know, any of us could have won at that point. But obviously, with the safety car and then the red flag, we all put new tyres on, which is strange, and I didn't know that was the regulations. I need to read up on it. And then, you know, you can't do anything because we're on the same age tyres, we're all about the same speed, so that's how it ended. But the team did a great job this weekend, and I'm very happy with our strategy. We went for it. We had to try something different than Sebastian to beat him here. It was working, but it didn't work in the end.
We heard you on your team radio saying, is he really going to go to the end? You're obviously driving at speeds in between walls, trying to calculate your own race and the guys in front of you. I mean, the strategy, you pushed hard, but it just didn't quite work out because of the safety car.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you need to take it into account that there's possibly going to be safety cars, but we had to take the risk and go for more stops to get some clear air, and it looked like it was going to work, but it didn't. But we shouldn't be upset with what we did this weekend. I think we did a good job. We're just disappointed not to get a better result. But the guys, yeah, they deserved a bit more. But there you go. We got a third, which is not so bad, and 2 podiums the last 2 races, and hopefully have another good race in Canada.
And they're expected to be very strong indeed when we get to Canada. So Jenson Button's going to have his nose in the rule book for the next couple of races. Fernando Alonso will be rueing the fact that just as he was closing in on Sebastian Vettel, just as he was looking to put a pass on him and stick his Ferrari at the very front and take a win here, suddenly he got denied by the safety car. But we can now hear from Fernando talking to Lee.
Fernando, congratulations, second position. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel happy. I think it's the best result for us of the championship, second place, so we have to be happy, and I think the whole weekend has been good for us. 7 days ago we were 2 minutes behind the leader. Now 7 days after we are fighting for victory, so definitely a good weekend. We missed victory for just 2 seconds, but in Canada and Valencia hopefully we can repeat this performance.
Jenson was saying he was surprised about all the work going on in cars when the red flag was out as well. What was your understanding of all that?
Nothing. I think I was sitting in the car, I saw all the mechanics working in all the cars, and I think we are allowed to change tires, so we all put a different set of tires because we were struggling a little bit in that part of the race, and with that change, I think Sebastian was easy for victory.
Ferrari going in the right direction. It was better than you'd expected. 7 days ago, you didn't think there'd be such a jump in performance.
Yeah, I think obviously the car is identical to Barcelona, so it's just related to the unique Monaco circuit that we improve our performance. But it's also true that with the super soft tires, it seems that the car is working well, not the same with the hard tires. So in the next 2 races that the super soft tire will be available, hopefully we can repeat this performance, and the Ferrari seems to work a little bit better.
And I think it's party time here on the floater home. There is the race winner, Sebastian Vettel, making his way over to the team. The champagne is spraying already. And I dare say we'll see quite a few people in the swimming pool before long. Eddie, how do these match up to the Jordan celebrations from back in the day?
Well, ours were different. Marty was there for some of them in the Formula 3 days. We used to have absolute total chaos, but it was back in the garage, and we'd have a little rock and roll band, and we'd have our own style of celebration. This is very much Red Bull, and they are to be applauded because they've brought a little bit of humour, rock and roll, and a different style. Too long have many people in race teams, and particularly team bosses, and myself, I have to put my hand up, was one of those. We'd have a fight to see how quickly we could get home. Monaco, of course, is very different, and this is a huge celebration, not just for the drivers, not just for the engineers, but everybody involved, and the girls and all the people who look after his so well in this hospitality home. It's absolutely fantastic for them.
And this is a man who has a real appreciation of the fact that this is a team sport. It's not about one driver racing a car, it's a team racing a car.
As a driver, you're the final link in the chain. You're the one that everybody talks about and you get the most focus, but at the end of the day, you are only a link, and you rely on the rest of the chain to give you the results. And despite that pit stop today, Red Bull still came through and won the Grand Prix, and Sebastian Vettel now wants to go and make every single person in the team, and whether in hospitality, marketing, mechanics or whatever, make them feel that they were part of that victory.
I think that was... What have we got there? It's hard to see. Is that Adrian Newey, Christian Horner and Sebastian in the pool?
And guess who pushed him in? Mr. Vettel. Papa.
Oh, Father Vettel pushed him in the pool.
I wouldn't fancy his chances much later on in the evening. I think he might be making an early dip.
I wonder if we'll be seeing a backflip into the pool. Yeah, there we go. Look, you've got the guys enjoying themselves. David, your thoughts watching this?
Well, well-deserved celebrations. I think they're not only got the fastest car, they're the only team that got their own private pool, so they've got all the bases covered.
How does this compare to winning things such as your home race or winning the other blue ribbon events in Formula 1, picking up a win in Canada or something? Does this still rank with the drivers as the race?
We've been saying it all weekend, the drivers love the challenge of going around Monte Carlo. You know, it's a crazy place in many ways to try and hold a motor race, but the fact that it's been on the calendar for 69 years, you know, it's earned a big place in the drivers' hearts.
And what's important, their way to say, yes, it is a dangerous circuit. That's why the drivers love it, because it's a challenge. There's not big runoff areas. They know they've got to be on their best form and using their skills in the most successful way. And that's why they know that when you have a great result here, you know you've achieved something very special indeed.
Yeah. Let's just watch these pictures for a few moments and enjoy them.
The smell of champagne up here, Jake.
Okay, all kinds of people are going into the pool. I don't think this young lady really wants to go in, but I have a sneaky suspicion she has no choice. Indeed, she doesn't. Eddie, this is your moment now to go and grab Sebastian.
I think that would be very risky. Thanks a lot, Jake. You always give me the most arduous jobs to do. I think Sebastian's far too close to the pool.
As he gets out, I'm sure you can get him.
I'm going to try and get him.
Go on, Eddie.
No, I don't believe you. I could be going in there.
No, you won't. Go on, Eddie. There he is. This is your moment, Eddie Jordan.
Hang on a second. And
well done, EJ.
Come on, we got a winner.
We had a winner. Look, he's riling around. Oh, off goes the microphone. I'd like to commentate on that one. Actually, EJ can't swim.
Eddie Jordan and the Formula One world champion, along with the defending world championship team. Red Bull is in the swimming pool in the Monaco harbour. I think this is a first for Eddie Jordan, and I don't want to be the person he goes near first because he won't be happy.
That was more inevitable than Red Bull winning the race. That he was going to end up in there.
He's looking for something.
I think he's lost his
He's lost his lucky coin.
He can't see
hasn't he?
anything without his contact lenses.
There's a lucky shamrock or something at the bottom of that pool that he's got to go and get.
And how great that Adrian Newey is looking for Eddie Jordan's glasses at the bottom of the pool.
He's looking for something down there.
I was going to go over and speak to Eddie, but I'm not going to risk walking over there because I think anyone that goes over there will be in that swimming pool.
He's in again.
I'm feeling deeply uncomfortable being within 5 metres of this pool.
I think we've been building up, though, to this moment for the last 2.5 years, haven't we? We've been waiting for Eddie to explode on national television, and it's happening live before your eyes. Oh, it's fantastic, though. And this is so, only at this race could this kind of thing happen. This wouldn't work if we were at different Grand Prix trying to have this much fun.
Well, it wouldn't have the same feeling at the back of the Shanghai paddock, would it? That's for sure.
He's still trying to recover something from the base of the pool. Oh, and he goes in again. That was Norbert Vettel who pushed him in there. Or shall I say his name properly this time? Vettel. Norbert Vettel.
Vettel as in kettle.
Okay. Well, he just gave Eddie a push.
I think Eddie looks like he needs a lift, not a push.
He's such a numpty, though. Imagine bending over on the edge of the pool and expecting that you're not going to get pushed in.
Wrecking that nice haircut as well.
Yeah, well, it's amazingly holding place fantastically well.
I think it's good TV, don't you?
Hello, Christian.
Christian, Eddie's lost his glasses. Are you going to help him find them at the bottom of the pool?
I think they've gone for good, actually. I think Eddie's going to be in there for a while, by the looks of things.
This is classic Eddie, though. He's commandeering just about every member of the Red Bull team to help him get them. But how great, though, that Eddie, after achieving what he did in this sport, is still a good sport to get involved.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Eddie's a larger-than-life character, and he's always causing us mischief, so it's good to return the favour now and again.
Eddie, Christian says this is in return for all the mischief that you've been causing.
Suddenly, I think my earphones are waterlogged. He has a lot to answer for. I think yesterday, because he didn't know he was going in, he's trying to get his own back, isn't he?
Well, this was pre-arranged from weeks ago, actually. They said,
I didn't want to tell him that, but mine wasn't pre-arranged, but he got me sneakily. And I think these two boys have to have a visit in there. What about Brundle and Coulthard? I mean, come on, you can't have them out sitting here.
DC's all in white, so that could be a bit embarrassing, though, so...
Oh, yeah, all the better for us.
Well, Eddie, as you are now wet...
We'd love that.
As you are now wet, I think you are the man to go and speak to Sebastian, because you can't get any wetter than you are.
OK, we'll go and see.
Go on, then.
There's Sebastian. Sebastian, 1 minute. We just need you for the BBC.
You want to go swim again?
Listen, I've done enough swimming for a lifetime. But, you know...
Look like a fish.
World champion, winning in Monaco. You hadn't done before. This must be very special.
It is. It's a very hard one to win. Obviously, a lot of things have to go right. We've seen it today. It's an incredible achievement. So very happy. It was a tough call. We didn't think it was possible to one-stop that race, but in the end,
things
it
worked
nearly
out
was.
for you. I mean, the safety car, a lot of things. But you put yourself in the right place at that time.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously the safety car was helping, but we did take a lot of risk as well. So. Worst case, we would have finished third. There was a big gap, so I said, okay, let's try. I'm dealing with those tires pretty well and trying to make them last.
On a happy note, how was it like seeing your dad float away in the pool?
That was cool. So I think we will have,
He was very happy too.
Yeah, he was I think you just undercut him, you know.
I don't understand. That's a Martin Brundle word. We don't understand this undercutting business.
Yeah.
But anyway, well done. Many congratulations. You're a true champion. Jake, I don't know if you can hear me because my ears are waterlogged. And I'm back to you if I can possibly get back there. But this is what you would call mayhem. This is completely organised chaos. You will not believe how mad I am. Sappy. I will never have my purple shoes again. What am I going to do here? I think I should give the invoice to the BBC. Do you think they'll stand for that?
Yeah, I'm sure they will. There's about £15 million worth of damaged garms by the look of it at the moment. You can see the damage to the shoes, and lovely shoes they are as well. We'll do our best to get them dried out.
They were, you mean to say. It's past tense at this stage, Jake.
Yeah. Sebastian's in good form again.
I need my glasses.
And he's going to try and get his glasses if he can. You were just chatting to Christian Horner there, actually, about the way the race unfolded. And you were talking to him about the pit stop moment?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I'm sorry to be boring and not want to go in the swimming pool, but we'll do that when we're ready, but hopefully not sooner than that. It was fascinating talking to Christian. I said, what happened to Mark Webber's pit stop? He said, well, we had a radio jam, and they misheard everything. They put the wrong compound of tyres on Sebastian's car. So he went out. That's the brilliant strategy that we're saying really won them the race today. Was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because they heard that they were going to put the prime tyres on Mark Webber's car. It got miscommunicated as the system had a problem, and that's why they weren't ready when Vettel came in.
Okay.
And then also, of course, they were still confused because they hadn't heard that Mark Webber was coming in at all. So we're watching this pit stop now, and there's a lot of confusion as to what's actually going to go on that car. And then as he went out of the pits, Christian said to me, we thought, well, how are we going to engineer our way out of this problem? But they began to realise they were going to go for a set of soft tyres later on, super soft tyres. And this is Mark Webber, and he doesn't have any tyres at all. So a big communication problem on both cars has left the mechanics really struggling to know what to do. And it's just incredible, isn't it, that Vettel's race-winning strategy was a mistake. And that's the kind of good fortune they've had all weekend, and it just hasn't worked out for McLaren. It's been the opposite for McLaren.
It's the kind of thing, when it goes your way, doesn't it?
They did. They walk away with first and fourth, so not a bad weekend.
No, not a bad weekend. And we leave here and we head to Canada, which, if Red Bull win, won't be an awful lot calmer than this. But it's another circuit where we say naturally Red Bull shouldn't shine, but the way things are going at the moment, you can't write the team off anywhere.
No, they seem like they've got an answer for everything and everybody, but Canada's been a wild race, almost always, and with double DRS, tyre degradation, and, you know, Alonso's sort of right in there. McLaren have a very fast car too, to hopefully challenge McLaren. But the Canadian Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time should be an absolute blinder.
And then after that, we head to Valencia. It starts to hot up now, and then we're back home as well, which is always special.
Yeah, there is that. No, please. No, guys, please. No, I've got my white jeans on and my best thing.
Give us your shoe. I'll look after your phone, David.
Hold on, I'm fighting this.
I'll have the mic. Give us this. I'll take the mic. David, give us the mic.
I'm taking the mic. I'm not
Give us the mic.
I'm not going in.
I'll take your pack off you. I don't think there's anything we can do to save you, David. I think you're unsavable.
They're trying to
Oh dear, I knew it was a bad idea to come up here in the first place. Well, I think we'll leave you with these shots. We'll thank you very much for joining us for the 2011 Monaco Grand Prix. This is the kind of stuff that happens on the forum. Martin Brundle, high five to staying dry up here. I think that's a feat in itself. So there you go.
Let's get out of here fast.
There's the man that started the action at Red Bull. He joined the team, he helped them improve. Sebastian Vettel came along, he's given them the world title, and he's giving them win after win. We're up here on the float to home. A couple of guys in the pool from our team, the whole of the Red Bull team in the pool, and look at the celebrations. We can just enjoy them now one last time. A truly special weekend, the one that means more to the drivers than anything else to win here, and you can see just what it meant to Sebastian Vettel. Thank you for joining us for what is turning out to be a truly incredible 2011 Formula One season. It gets better and better, and in 2 weeks we'll be in Canada with Sebastian Vettel very much leading the title charge and kissing trophy after trophy. Have a great evening. These boys certainly will. Bye-bye. If you want high living, fast living, then this is the name of the place.
Let me get right to the point. I don't pop my cork for every man I see.
And Hamilton's up the inside. This is supreme sporting skill. For the
at that. Alonso's right in there. What a shot. Sebastian Vettel, he is the master of Monaco.
Fantastic, Seb. That was a champion's try.
Next time on Formula One, Round 7, Canada.